And that's what we've been doing, I guess, for the last, what, 7 months now? Or since January,
Yeah.
some of us, and it's been real helpful. My dad doesn't want to give it up. Not that I asked him to stop, but you know, he likes doing it. And it's been helpful. It's helpful to know, at least from my standpoint, that I'm not alone. That everyone has the same concerns about the loved one, and you know what's going to happen and what we do. And to know that there are a lot of people out there who need that help or advice or want to talk or just even hear, it's been helpful. And so kind of typically, I guess, at every meeting we go around the room, you know, and introduce ourselves, and we can go from there. I guess Dan, you can start.
You already introduced me.
Hi, Howard.
My name is Howard Cohen. And today isn't one of my good days, so pardon my voice, but at any rate, I've had Parkinson's for about 5 years now that I know about. I think it started earlier with symptoms I wasn't aware of, mainly my voice, even before the tremors. But nothing much to say about it. I take Cinemet, carbidopa and levodopa. I find if I take it during the day, I get real lightheaded and dizzy. It affects my blood pressure. So I only take it at night so I can stop the tremors so I can get to sleep. Sleeping is a bit of an issue. When the tremors start up, it keeps me up. But at any rate, that's the story.
Yeah, I find that with the schedule, more so now than it's been in the past, that if he comes to this meeting, he usually works out on a treadmill, and he's a little bit more eager to go. If he skips that schedule, you know, of working out, then all of a sudden he's just a little groggy, hard to move, you know, hard to you know, just get going. I think it happens with everyone, but for him the symptoms seem to be more prominent if he doesn't get that morning walk in and goes through his schedule. If we change it and we're going somewhere at 9 o'clock as opposed to him waking up on his own and get on a treadmill like today, I think it's affected him more so.
Sure, I'm Alan, I'm Beth's husband, native to Appleside. We just live down the street.
And I'm Beth. I've had Parkinson's maybe probably 2 years. And it's real drag. And just had my knee scoped, so that's a drag too. And, I'm 57, and that's it.
Hi, I'm Rosina. I'm Bob's wife. He can talk now.
With that introduction, I'm Bob Woodson. And I guess I've had Parkinson's for about 6 years now, 6 or 7 years. It's been diagnosed at least. And seem to have a tremor dominant type of Parkinson's. I've tried carbidopa, levodopa, but it makes me really nauseous. I'm curious to hear what other people have done in that regard.
When I started taking it, it made me nauseous as well. So I, without talking to the doctor, I just started cutting back on the dosage. So I take, I'm supposed to take it 3 times a day, 6 hours apart. I take half a tablet in the morning, half a tablet midday, and then a full tablet in the evening before I go to bed, and I can tolerate that fine. And it also makes me drowsy. So that's kind of same thing. It helps get me relaxed at night to be able to not have that problem. But I just started halving the dose in the morning and midday to see if it would help.
Does it still help you walk and stuff? Does it still help you with your tremor and everything?
Yes.
Half a dose?
Yes. Well, it's actually I end up taking 2/3 of the dose that was recommended. overall, but it's enough, and I'm on the low end of it. I mean, I've heard people take quite a bit more of it. So for me right now, and I'm in the early stages, it's been effective.
Do you have to take it like a half an hour before eating? Is that still?
An hour, yeah. And I'm a diabetic, so it's a real crapshoot all day long, buzzers going off.
Yeah, and it's really hard when you have to take medication like that a half an hour before eating, and with food, not food, you know, everyone's affected differently.
Yep.
My dad's the same way, so I think it's.
I take Retari. I took the Cinnamon when I first diagnosed, it made me sick in my stomach and nauseous the whole month, and now I take Retari. And I take Retari up to a level 4 weeks and 6 as well. So I've just gone down to a level of Retari.
So what do you do?
Retari.
Lower levels?
Yeah, because too much of it makes me sick in my stomach.
Yeah, I did Retari. I like it.
My solution to nausea was to stop taking pills. So, other than the tremor, I'm not all that affected by it, I don't think.
Oh, gosh.
You might disagree.
Well, a little slower than you used to be.
Well, slow down a little bit, but still moving.
I'm Roger Jones. I've been diagnosed 2 years now. I do the levodopa as well. And I experienced the nausea. I wondered about that. I hadn't heard that as a symptom. And I have, like some of you, just difficulty scheduling. I'm supposed to take it 3 times a day on an empty stomach, an hour before, an hour after. By the time I get to evening, I've taken my 2, and I guess I was thinking, what is it worth? I don't need it to go to sleep at night. So what's the point of taking one at night if I don't need it to be up and moving? So, anyway.
I take mine at 6 in the morning, cause you're go back to sleep. I take mine at 11 before lunch, and then take mine at 4 before dinner. Works out nicely. Don't have to worry that much about eating around those times.
Started out doing it, when she woke up, she'd take one and try to remember when 6 hours is and all that. And the day she's working, she gets up at 6 and is taking it. So once you just start taking it, all the time, it's really made a big difference. And then you take a lower dosage before you go to bed,
I
right?
do, just cause it helps me sleep. Cause it coming down, I was just feeling all anxious when I went to bed at night, said that was coming down off the meds, and so just take a low dose just to help me go to bed. So going to sleep, some of it helps.
It's just been a difficult time to schedule that. And quite frankly, I haven't noticed a huge difference since I've been starting. The tremors are about the same as they've always been. And, I take it because the doctor says it, but I'm not sure I feel the effect of it all.
Does it help you
Other
think
than the
better?
nausea.
Does it
Sorry?
help you think better? I notice Jim is more clear. So maybe have you noticed that?
I haven't noticed it.
You could take, and sometimes if it doesn't help, you should take more maybe.
Hate to take more. One tablet in the first thing in the morning usually makes me ill.
Yeah.
Like this.
Shame.
I'd say discuss it with your doctor. That's what Jim did, and they have different alternatives. And not everyone can take the carbidopa, levodopa, or cut it back.
I started off with when I was first diagnosed, and I won't be able to pronounce it, Sanatrol, I think. Anyway, it's a lesser known drug, and they switched me to levodopa.
Well, don't get discouraged. I
Still
think, yeah.
Yeah.
Just talk it over with your doctor, I would think. And be your own advocate.
Yeah, really.
Just on this note, I just wanted to interrupt. I have a speaker. Oh, we talked about it? We have a speaker that I wanted to do when everyone was here, so I wanted to wait until the fall to get her to come in. And she's a pharmacologist. She talks about, she knows all the drug interactions. That's her field.
She has a clinic.
She has a clinic at Parkland, and she helps in the geriatric wing, so to coordinate all these different doctors, medications for people who see a urologist and a heart specialist. And she's willing to come. I was hoping that over the next 3 months, I could get emails from everyone about the questions they want to address. Because I have to give her something to go off and prepare for in a lecture, because, I can say it's for a Parkinson's, group, but she'd want to know more about the interactions or questions you might have. Even if you get answered them in the next few months, it'd be nice, because I think we'll have people the entire summer and coming here to these meetings that might not know those answers anyway, and it'd be helpful to share. And she could have that lecture, and we can film it. Anyway, so all these questions are great. If you just send them to me, that'd be wonderful.
Do we have your email?
I'll give it to you at the end.
Well, Susan send it to me.
Susan, who organizes everything and has it. I'll give it to Susan.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Kathy Gaither, I've met a lot of you. This group, I'm like Mallory. I think you are the greatest group of people. Jim finds so much support. It takes so much courage every day to meet the demands that we need to meet. And I'm just proud that Jim, like all of you, just really take the time to take care of yourself. So it's your show. I'm like you. I don't like
I'm Jim Gaither. I was diagnosed about 2.5 years ago. 10 years ago, I started experiencing a tremor. But I just thought it was an essential tremor. My grandmother had an essential tremor, and she was, constantly like this. So I just thought it was something that Kathy noticed while we were eating, just barely shaking the end of my fork, and over time it just got worse. So I got in touch with a neurologist. Been seeing him for 10 years. He tracked it, did a DAT scan. The first one came back equivocal, meaning they couldn't tell anything. The second one came back 2.5 years ago that was abnormal. So I'm on Azilect and carbidopa-levodopa. And the combination of those two, I take the Azilect at night, and then I take the carbidopa-levodopa 3 times a day. And the combination of the two keep my tremor pretty well under control. And that's where mine manifests itself primarily, is in tremors, but also not only Kathy notices, but I notice the difference in my thinking, my slowness, my slowness in response, slack face. I felt like I didn't have much emotion to anything anyway, but now it's really bad. So I'm cognizant of that. It just, and it takes, this is one big change for me. If I'm working on something, I have to focus on that. I worked in advertising before, and it was, you're working on 3 different projects at one time, and so you had to stop, start, someone interrupting you, get going, new project, get an answer for that one, quick stop, go do that. If Kathy comes in and asks me while I'm working on something, I just put up my hand, because I can't focus on something until I finish my thought. And I know that that's really frustrating for her at times. And when we're talking, I know that I will sit there and not give her much of a response to things. I know that that's frustrating. I am listening and I understand. I just am processing. It takes me a little bit more focus to process. I think I've noticed some differences in my driving, a little bit less focused on that. I don't think I'm endangering anyone's life yet, so.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll be the first.
as elected, Razagling.
It's a,
We've had that.
it's kind of it's an MAO inhibitor.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what she started me out on first, and
Kind of
then we added the carbidopa.
Supposed to kind of delay the symptoms from progressing.
And it also helps with the tremors as well. So, but that's kind of me and my situation in a nutshell.
I can relate to the delayed stuff, and I think, do you ever feel like it's overwhelming, like too much going on is overwhelming, too much thought, like it's almost, my dad comes up to the office sometimes and takes care of some paperwork. I can't talk to him because he's got too much going on, but he's done in 10 minutes, but the concentration he has to use on getting those things done in the order he wants to get them done in.
Yes, that's pretty much it. Exactly. I'm still very productive when I'm working on something. I just can't do that interruption thing, and yeah, the multitasking. Like if I'm sitting there and the alarm goes off to take carbidopa, levodopa,
Right.
it just keep hitting snooze because and I won't take the medication. It's like I just need to finish this task. If I can finish that, then I can take care of something else. I just can't do the multi-focus thing anymore.
And I
at all.
noticed that he sorry, I didn't speak to you like this, but you're not gonna talk about it. But I noticed that he gets irritated, too. Very irritated, and then, apologizes later, 30 seconds later, like, oh, everything's fine, it's just, but until I heard you talk about that, I really didn't put it together. I just thought he really had to get home, or he really had to go on to the next task. It really was just trying to concentrate. So
Yeah, I'm there and I'm listening. You just may not be able to tell by my face or my response because I'm processing.
right, and if I interrupt him, he looks very irritated, but he'll answer my questions, or he'll talk to me, and then he'll go. Now if I do it 2 or 3 times in the course of the hour,
Watch
I
out.
really got to get to the time. So I couldn't tell if this was just the way I grew up with him or it was him.
Honestly, it's great because I will speak for our counterparts. I am learning to adjust, and I will talk with him and say, when I talk to you, you hearing me? Because we'll be watching a program and I'll make a comment and he looks straight ahead. And I'm like, so is he ignoring me? Could be a man thing. It could be, right? So we have these
Or hearing aid,
discussions.
like
Yeah,
hearing
yeah,
aid.
not yet. But I tell him what I'm observing and how I have to react, because if I go in when he is on his art or laptop and he goes, and I'm like,
Right.
oh boy, and it hurts. I will be honest with you, because so we're adjusting too. So I'm very honest with him. It's like, when you do this, I'm having to adjust my life. And that's not a bad thing, because when you love someone, you want to be copacetic, you want it to work. But from our point of view, that it bites a little. And so you have to really learn things, especially when he overreacts and gets agitated. I kind of walk out like the dog with the tail between the legs. So that's, all these things are so, I think, wonderful for the group to hear, because it impacts all of us.
It
It's a
helps me
huge-
because I can go back to my sisters and say, look, he's not really angry, or he's really not, because I think there is a delay, there is a response from them that they don't necessarily want to interact or do too much.
Why didn't you bother coming this morning?
You don't speak up, that's what you're irritating. I'm right though. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean that.
So you said something, and I don't remember exactly what you said, but what I've noticed more about her, and I kind of mess with her about it, but she'll say, well, would you go get my, and I'll always go, sounds like, and, those kind of things.
Can't come up with a
But she
word.
can't come up with a word, whatever
That's
she
my
wants me
thing,
to get,
pick
yeah.
up the word.
Yeah,
And I just kind of thought it was her, I didn't put it with that so much.
No, I definitely I understand that just happens with age, no matter what. Everybody gets worse about that. But when that happens, that is one of the most infuriating things for me now. Now that's one of those triggers that just will set me off. And it's like, and I understand Kathy's real good about always saying, I'm not attacking you, but this is what's going on. So she's bringing it to my attention fairly consistently. I understand it, and I really try and be cognizant of it. But there's then something will happen, like the word, all of a sudden, while I'm trying to explain to her either my lack of reaction or whatnot, and that just is, then it gets, as RV said, it gets a little bit overwhelming and complicated. You know, it just exacerbates it. So for those of us that are affected, yeah, it's can be that way if yours manifests itself this way, and if you're one of the caregivers in the room, I think we're trying the best that we can at trying to understand it ourselves, because I'm really cognizant of the changes in me, and I try to be as cognizant as I can, so that Kathy's not having to bear the brunt of my frustrations, which are mainly with myself, not with her. So.
My name is Jean, and
early February, 2 months.
2 months, wow.
This is the second time I was diagnosed. So the first time was after a surgery. I started feeling uneasy in my feet. It was kind of a major surgery. And I had numbness in both hands, even though they took the lymph nodes out of the right arm. And my left was also numb. And so I called my surgeon, and he was concerned that the cancer had spread to my brain, so he sent me down for a brain scan that day. And it came back clear, but the doctors in the room examining me, they were doing, you know, dexterity things, tests, and watching me walk and so forth. And they said, we think you have Parkinson's. And that kind of rang a bell, because my mother had it, my uncle had it, but it never entered my mind that I did. And I still didn't believe it. So we saw another neurologist who's like the chair of UT Southwestern's neurology department. And he said I met 3 out of the 4 criteria that he uses to diagnose. I'm on Sedamet as well, and I'm still kind of wading through it all, but I'm not real good at being consistent. Did you take your pill? I forgot.
you're getting way better.
I'm getting better,
Put it on your alarm on your phone.
Yeah, that's what I told them. But maybe if someone else told them, it'll do.
That's all right here.
Yeah.
When she first started taking it, the retarded, you know, she'd forget and do this and that and everything. And so when we went back to the doctor said it's every 5 hours. 5 hours. She goes, not 4:49, you know, not 5:08. You know, it's every 5 hours. So that's when she started making it an alarm. She's pretty good. Sometimes it gets odd and it snoozed too many times. She's pretty good about taking it within about 5 minutes. And it seemed to really change, you know, the way she did things, because waiting too long or something really seemed to make the next one not kick in at the right time or something. I don't know. It really seemed like the more she got regulated doing it exactly on time, the better she really did. So.
It's frustrating because like Gene will have dinner, but I didn't take the pill.
Right.
So what do? Do you wait, or
You wait.
go ahead and eat dinner and then take it, or?
No, didn't forget.
Well, that's kind of why she got on 6, she wakes up and takes it at 6, and then at 11, then 4, because it doesn't interfere with our meals or anything, very, very rarely.
So I'm happy to be here. I would say that I want to echo what Kathy was saying was the people I met at Rocksteady are the nicest people, supportive, everybody that goes there. I wish I could be there more often. We live near the lake, and it's devoting half a day to it basically.
Well, it feels like it anyway.
So.
But they did open at CC Young, it's a retirement, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, CC Young, it's a retirement community. It's assisted and unassisted, living.
Yeah, it's a graduate.
They just started Rocksteady, they have it there.
Oh, really?
And they have a Parkinson's class, and Tai Chi, and all these, every day of the week.
Wow,
And
that's
you
great.
can join for the whole year, it was only, and they have a pool, I mean, even though you don't live there, non-members, I think it was less than $300 for the entire year. And
I
they
used to
just
work there.
started, Monday was their first Rocksteady
I
class.
used to work there.
Oh,
As a
you
hospice
did?
nurse there, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, the lady that runs the hospice, she's the one that kinda got the Rocksteady in there, and,
What's her name?
Jennifer
Jennifer
Boardman or something?
Broadman.
That's it,
Broadway.
yes.
Mhm.
Broadway, yes.
Mhm.
But, so they have, and that's like 2 miles from us, as opposed to, but anyway. It's good that there's options, I'm shocked, actually.
Cool.
Were you gonna say anything else?
Yeah, but I forgot. It'll come to me.
Easy to forget.
Yeah.
I guess it's my turn. I'm George, I'm about 48 years old now. I've been diagnosed since 2017. I had symptoms about 5 years prior to that. The main thing I have a problem with is the stiffness, rigidities and stuff. Just kind of locking up. But, I was kind of a little bit young, I was right around 42 when I officially got diagnosed. I didn't believe the first doctor. I don't know if y'all remember from last month when I was telling this story. I was a young neurologist, and I just didn't quite want to, go down that road. So I waited till it was in April, and I waited till November around birthday time, and I went and saw a different doctor. I found the oldest neurologist I could possibly find in Dallas, and he's right there on Hillcrest, and he happened to agree. He tapped me on the forehead, and I blinked or something. He goes, "Yeah, you got Parkinson's." That's ridiculous. I mean, I was like, I tapped you on the forehead. I bet you blinked too. They had me walk up and down the hall and take all this stuff. He did all this stuff he's supposed to, but he's got to be 78 or 80 years old by now. But he does neurofeedback therapy for it. That helps with my anxiety and stuff, because it kind of gets built in with anxiety. But I take whatever, the levodopa, carbidopa, generic drug that Walgreens decides to give me that month. 4 times a day, 25, 100 dose, 4 times a day. And I try to walk as much as possible, and like today I haven't done any exercise, so I'm extra stiff. So, but I like going to the boxing because you feel better. I don't think that the drugs help with my tremor that much though. I wish I could find something that helped with that. And then I try not to walk like my body wants me to walk, kind of stutter and stuff. So I try to forcibly make myself walk big steps everywhere I go. And then you run out of energy by the end of the day.
husband Meg, and this is my husband Derek. I love Rock City Boxing. I've been gone because I had a knee replacement. I'm gonna come back next week. I've had this knee replaced. I feel like my symptoms have gotten worse since I had my knee replacement. I don't know if it's the anesthesia did it, but I feel very off balance, I have the non-tremor dominant kind, so I don't have a tremor, I have a balance, and it's mostly balance. Just feel so off balance, I fall, stuff like that. I still work. I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to go back to work because of this balance thing I've got going on. I take Rytari 3 times a day, and then take a little dose before I go to bed. I love the boxing and all the people, and just love all the gentlemen that are there, and that kind of stuff. So I don't know what else to say. I'm really nervous about that it's gotten worse since I did this surgery.
I think the surgery really affected her quite a bit, more than I would have thought or anybody else would have thought. But I won't say I don't know how much of the mental or whatever, but how much is really there and how much is her nervousness of trying to get back going normal. She talks about like she's falling a lot. And my observation is that she kind of more locks up and feels off balance.
I freeze,
Yeah.
and I never froze before. That
Right.
freezing when you want to step and you don't step, and then you step and then you feel off balance.
She hasn't really fallen or done anything. I think it just she gets so scared that she's gonna fall more than actually.
And I feel off balance.
Right. Yeah. So that's why she started walking with a stick there. She did the walking little walker for her knee and then cane for a little bit. Now she's just using that or knee for balance. So.
Just gives me a little support. Can't take it to work though. I'm going to work a week on Sunday, so I love to work and I have to. I'm a nurse. I'm a hospice nurse.
They won't let you use it, or?
I don't think they'll let me use it. I don't think they will.
Why not?
I don't think they would.
Oh, they accommodate you.
Why wouldn't they?
Because you're supposed to be taking care of people. I don't know. I'd be really
But then
surprised.
That has nothing to do with it. If you need that cane, you need to take it with you.
I think.
I just had a knee replacement also.
You did?
Well, actually, I should have had another one yesterday, but that didn't work out. But, yes,
How'd you do after?
great. But I do have some balance issues,
Since
but-
then? Since then? Oh, really? You don't have Parkinson's?
No.
Oh, interesting.
I wonder how with all your nerves being cut and not having the same sensations if you don't.
Well,
it's been
it's
balanced
just,
for a while.
it's just a kind of a different feeling.
Right.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. So maybe it's that and not Parkinson's.
It's common, I don't remember, I wasn't here for the anesthesiology speaker, but I know it's common after surgeries, the older you get. General anesthesia, it can be an issue.
Yeah.
Parkinson's or not. It may have I can't speak for the Parkinson's, but I know people have, they have dementia, they can have other things happen as a result. They can take months to go away, weeks, days. I know there's just a varying degree.
Oh, wow, that's.
I'm not trying to diagnose, don't go
Right,
home,
no.
but I know it's a common issue as we get older to go for general surgery. When I say general anesthesia, coming out of it can be difficult. Yeah, not that it can be difficult, but that you may have symptoms you didn't have before as a result of going through it.
Yeah, about a month ago, or 3 weeks ago, Mallory sent out an email with both a presentation that the doctor had put together and a video link that I shot. And so his whole discussion about the anesthesia.
Can you send that to me?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think I got it.
Okay.
I get stuff from her, but I don't think I got that.
The
But,
different layers of being under, he was talking about, to have a plan, like you would, when having a baby, you have a plan, when you go into surgery and know how deep you're gonna be taken and all of that.
Right, the effect is that the deeper the anesthesia, the more effect it might have on you.
But then your brain has a different, everyone's different, so
That's
knowing
right.
how deep you should go based on your situation, then what he was talking about. So it's
They
worth
have those
listening.
monitors now.
Yes.
Yeah, he said,
Monitor you while they're trying to.
While you're in surgery, you can monitor how deep you're.
Right, they monitor you knowing that, well, we don't wanna take her this deep, or, you know, we only wanna maintain this,
Go this
this
far.
far.
Wow.
You talked
Wish
about a
I'd known
small
that.
appliance that
Yeah.
goes across your forehead and monitors what level you're at, too light, too heavy, right in between.
Wow. Okay. If I were to do another one.
I was gonna say, it's worth knowing going forward.
Yeah.
Right, and it might find that you're better, you know, over time than you were the week after,
Yeah.
right? You find that you're better now than you were a week after or 2 weeks after.
Well, my bladder control's gotten better over time.
Sure.
It was really bad at first. Scary.
but this is something that, for everybody, not just the Parkinson's,
Yeah.
people with Parkinson's, you should ask for the monitor. You have to ask for the monitor.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will.
or they should be asking you if you want it monitored, and yes, you do want it monitored, is what he was advocating. So,
I will. I'm gonna call.
so
him
if you
now.
have to have another, some type of other surgery, it would be good to have that done. Because the doctor did indicate that anybody with with any kind of, especially a neurological disorder, is probably a little bit more susceptible to the severity of anesthesia. So,
Is the effect temporary or do you recover from it?
he said, like Harvey said, it generally is a temporary thing, but the temporary could be a long time.
Yeah, your temporary might
He-
be different than someone else's.
Yeah,
temporary.
because everybody is different, and he said I thought he had said it could last at least up to a year
Yeah,
before your body gets
Right.
back to that same point to where you feel like you're not having any effect from it.
yeah, I know people that had problems, went for back surgery and the fusion on the vertebrae and came out and didn't have any, but had dementia type symptoms for a week or two, you know, and then, you know, they had to go back and do another surgery. They're really worried about it. And this is before the headgear or the monitor. So it was, but I'll try to get, you know, we have so many new members. I'm gonna try to talk to Susan about maybe getting all the emails she sent out with the little information and just kind of send out, resend it in like one document so people can click on the videos or the,
Yeah.
Right.
or the,
And catch
what we
up.
can, you know, kind of just put everyone on the same, because you kind of miss, you get 1,200 emails a week, and you kind of miss some of them, so.
I love that. I love that. Thank you.
I'll make a note.
I'm Michelle Cohen, I belong to these two, married to that one. So I'm just grateful for this, and it's good to know Howard has a place to be.
Well, like the Rock Steady, I think the Voice Project, too, we're gonna have someone come speak to, kind of started the same way as this. All, the boxing, this group that meets, and the Voice Project, it sounds like they all started out of, you know, a need to help other people or a desire, not something that wanted to make a business, you know. And I know Austin and Mallory, if you know them, they're great folks, really caring, and you know, they don't have to do this. They don't have to do the Rock Steady boxing. There wasn't a branch in Dallas before they got started. And if Mallory can't make it, she's like me, she can't make it to a meeting without crying, you know, about the desire to organize that, to do it for other people. And I think from what I watched the video that were, if you guys got a chance, did you get a chance to see the video of the Voice Project?
Yeah.
Okay. Not everyone did, but it just went out yesterday. But I think it started out the same way. You know, she couldn't get funding for this, she couldn't get help this, and just kind of progressed into something. So it's been kind of nice.
It's amazing to get it for free. Yeah, I've done it a lot online.
Right. So it's, but Richard's supposed to be here at 11, but I don't know what else to talk about. So if you guys want to just chime in.
You said you were a nurse, I would think whatever facility you're working for, ADA, what is it?
Yeah.
You should be
American
protected
Disabilities.
by
Yeah.
that. It gives you,
I'd be surprised, I think it'd be hard to be a nurse and walk around with a cane, because you gotta give meds,
Yeah, but you can
stuff
stop.
I can, huh?
You can stop and.
I don't know, I'm not gonna take it, I don't want to.
Oh, get you a cane that just stands up by itself.
Yeah.
So you can actually handle it and be standing there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think too,
Or, never seen a nurse that cane, never, ever.
I'm a
Ever.
nurse too.
You are?
Okay, yes, and if I had, I'm not working now, but, I've had, I have a friend who had, you know, problems with her knee, and she took her cane to work, worked in the operating room. So,
And I think with
Talk about-
hospice,
I
I
don't, I'll take it, I'll
you need to at least have it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna take it with me.
you talked about.
Luckily, I
taking-
work in a smaller place, I work in an inpatient unit, and it's like a house, it's for hospice,
Mhm.
and they get IV medications there because they need it. So I have 6 rooms that I take care of, they're on a short wall, so, I don't have to walk back and
I think you ought to have it with you, just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
it seems like it's a bit more calm. and
I wouldn't
it's
leave it at
right,
that.
So that it wouldn't need to be running
I
anywhere.
mean,
or that
people,
type of
I mean, be expected, people may give you a look, but you gotta say, I don't care to yourself.
I don't care, well,
Right.
I've worked there forever,
Right.
over 10 years.
Well,
Definitely.
I only work part-time now, I just work PRN now, just for fun, 'cause I love it, I love to be there.
and also if you just are concerned about too many things in your hands, which all of us probably are a little, can get some type of like a fanny type pack or something that is in the front so you can put the medications in where your hands are not full. She is constantly telling me to be mindful of having my hands full or anything that's gonna take me off balance one way or another.
we need to move.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you so much for